Good evening, or good day, or good morning,
wherever you are,
whenever you are. Hello, and welcome to Read, Watch, Play. I am your host, Tony Cox, and with me, as always,
Clifford Parmenter.
What he said. Today, we are going to talk about this week's comics. We're going to give you our spoiler-filled review of Thor, and we are going to unbox
our beautiful Super Sons action figures.
Yeah, we have a special camera dedicated to that. Can we get the table cam there, Adam? See how good this looks down here. Adam, can we get the table cam real quick?
Just testing the.
That's fine. You're making sure everything looks good. Oh yeah.
That I would open it, so what's better than opening it live?
Exactly. So before we jump into comics, how are you?
Pretty good. I had a very interesting weekend. I was at Albany Comic Con, and also look!
This is the most important meal. Yes. This is a nice cup.
It is.
That is huge.
It is huge.
Did you eat your cereal out of this cup?
You could. You had the option. I ate it out of the bamboo.
Did everybody get one of these?
Everyone who attended got one. Yes. I brought one for you.
You did?
I did. Well, because since Kerwin's was a corporate sponsor, I brought bowls back for a few of you.
But can I just tell you?
Can I just tell you?
Tell me.
Like, what an embarrassment of riches, because the Kerwin's logo was everywhere.
It was?
On every monitor, on the placemats, everywhere, and not one person from Kerwin's. And I was like, oh my God.
I really wish we could have gone. We were busy, obviously. We were doing the, this is where Kerwin's was that weekend, or we certainly would have been there. A bunch of us were up in Syracuse, New York, doing an SCG Magic Regional, which I ended up running. I was the tournament organizer for. Adam was up there too, doing the live stream. Worked his butt off doing that stuff. He's still cranky about it. We also had Steve and Mrs. Kerwin. Leanne were at Saugerties Comic Con, demoing some Yellow games and some Flux games. And then we were here in the store doing stuff. On Sunday we had actually Saturday and Sunday, we had some Dragon Ball Super tournaments, which were pretty cool.
By the way,
we were everywhere.
I'm psyched because Doctor Who Flux is coming.
Really?
Yes, and I'm just like, bravo on scoring that. But that said, I super love these mugs. Also, it looks like we hit our goal and maybe then some.
Oh, great.
We're waiting for the checks. For anyone who wrote a check, like they got it clear. But from cash and credit debit donations alone, we hit 8,500 out of 10,000. So that was really exciting. 130 people attended. All my stuff went at the auction. The board games, the action figures. Alternativerse donated a statue of Harley Quinn. That went. And so I'm happy, and definitely looks like we'll be doing this again next year.
Those things are not cheap, those statues.
No, the statue was $80,
awesome.
and someone wanted it for $50.
Yeah.
You know, and the two action figures were a total of 35 and 25, so like $60, and they went for about 50 altogether. So I was happy.
And all for a good cause too.
All for a good cause. And I had to fight for the honor of Cyborg that day.
Really?
Yes. Now, Cyborg is from my personal collection, and I decided to add it to charity. Mm-hmm. And then one of the guests, who's friends of the actual board members that work for the organization, was like, they need to stop trying to make Cyborg happen. And I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, Cyborg has been happening since George Perez and Marv Wolfman created the New Teen Titans. Have you read the New Teen Titans? No, you need to read the New Teen Titans. Go get yourself the trade, the omnibus, whatever, and you get that. Then, have you watched Teen Titans? Oh, that show. No, not Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans. Go get 4 seasons of Teen Titans. I don't care where you find it, and you watch it. It's like, tell me that Cyborg needs to happen.
Do it.
Cyborg is happening. I too didn't want to see him in a Justice League movie, but like he's a great character who clearly is worth being in the Justice League, and I'm not against it.
Hey Joe and Shane, how you guys doing?
Hey, Joe.
Thanks, Shane. I saw that you said this was the best episode so far
In the
before we
dark.
even started.
It was great.
But you're right, it is the best episode so far.
It is
They're
great.
all great.
But I went to Opening Comic Con on Sunday.
Oh yeah, how was that?
That was good, and I got another Harley, different
Yeah.
Harley, signed by Paul,
Mhm.
which will be for my Toys for Tots toy drive on December 2nd, Saturday, December 2nd, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Ridley Lowell, 26 South Hamilton Street, Poughkeepsie, New York. I will post it everywhere, and I've already invited 243 of my Facebook friends. I don't want to hear anyone tell me they didn't know about it. Because some people saw an all cereal breakfast and were like, oh, I didn't understand why this didn't happen. It's happening. We're having a toy drive. It's going to be great. I'm going to have refreshments. So there's going to be lovely guests there. And of course, bring in a new unwrapped toy and enjoy and, you know, maybe get some stuff signed and meet some really cool people like Dave Rodriguez from Skylanders.
Dave Rodriguez.
So I'm super excited. Ryan Brown will be there. Paul can't make it, but he did donate to Harley. Also, J.M. DeMattis, the writer, he couldn't make it, but he gave me signed volume 1 and 2 trade paperbacks of Justice League International.
Wow.
So I'm super excited. The days are counting down because December 2nd is around the freaking corner.
It is.
So that's going to happen. Also, Opening Comic Con was super cool. We celebrated Joe Sinnott's 91st birthday there. I mean, it was a big deal. So that was my weekend. My weekend was just like, woo!
And he's local to our area too.
He up here, yes.
Yep. So awesome. Well, let's jump into comics this week, shall we?
Should we talk with comic news?
But let's touch on a bit of comic news. Adam, go ahead and throw up the screen there. Brian Michael Bendis has signed on. He's leaving Marvel.
Ooh.
And he's signing an exclusive deal. Is that right? An exclusive deal with DC.
An exclusive deal with multi-layers. Ooh.
Ooh, this is pretty big because he's one of the cornerstones at Marvel that has written a lot of their, you know, like their most prolific, like, you know, premier books in the last 10 years.
Or
And I can tell somebody's really excited.
if you're like me, you just don't care because you lived through Byrne going to DC, you lived through Kirby going to DC, you lived through Jim Lee going to DC. You lived it. I lived it. I've lived all the controversial people just leaving to come to DC. That's what DC does. And now I'm glad they're doing it with their movies. Marvel did something really awesome. Now copy them and be awesome with them. That's it. That's what they did with the comics. Jack Kirby's like, I'll take any book and make it great. What do you got? Give me Jimmy Olsen. I'll make Jimmy Olsen great. And he did. You know? Now,
And then that led to the New Gods.
there we go. And then beautiful work, beautiful stuff. And look at freaking look at this movie too. The Justice League. It's like just give it to just let Whedon handle it. Just let Whedon work
This
his
movie needs
magic.
a little work. Who should we get to help write some of the reshoot scenes? Oh, I know. How about that Joss Whedon fella? I hear
Yeah.
he's pretty good at superhero team-up movies.
Yeah, next week in honor of the Justice League release, we're totally gonna go over our top 10 stuff. Now,
Top 10 DC movies of all time. So all DC property movies. I'm going to have a top 10. Cliff's going to have a top 10. And then we're going to try to smush them together. to
I have
create
multiple
one
top
ultimate
10s
top
all
10.
lined up in case you didn't.
Oh, I know. Well, he sent me a whole list of them, and I was like, I don't want to see these yet.
Yeah.
I want to see them on. I want to know your top 10.
I went crazy. I might have to modify them a little bit because I realized that my priorities for all top 10 changed when I went to DC property and Marvel property. My top 10 shifted a lot.
Yeah.
Like a movie that was not high on my top 10 was way higher when I separated
Yeah.
them because I based the individual properties more on my guttural emotional responses to it, and then the top 10 was more about like my overall cinematic appreciation. So those were two different perspectives to work on that.
So we're going to do top 10 DC properties next week. And then I think we might hold off on top 10 Marvel movies until Infinity War comes out.
I feel like it's a big wait. Thor Ragnarok just came out. We can give it to them.
But between now and then is Black Panther, and do we want to be able to include that in the top 10?
No, we'll do a 2008 top 10. That's what 2018 top 10.
All right.
Now, that said, I think this is interesting news. He's a good writer. My favorite, and he's implied that he's going to be writing Superman in one of his tweets.
So that's my next question: is what do we think he's going to be working on, and do you think he's been brought over to to sort of take over
Audio sounds off.
a specific. Yeah, I do apologize. We've been having some audio issues the last few streams, so we are definitely working on that, and we apologize if it sounds a little bit off. We are going to be taking steps to correct that soon. So.
A cliff rant.
Yeah, hashtag cliff rant. Do we know what he's taking over? You mentioned
No,
Superman.
he hinted.
And do we and what would we want him to take over?
Okay, so let me tell you what I want. I would like for him to do something great with a lesser known. I want him to pull a Jack Kirby. So I would like him to write something like Hawkman.
Ooh.
Because he took a character like Daredevil and gave Daredevil one of his best runs ever. And I'm going to be honest with you, although I enjoyed the elements, it's like when I enjoy elements of a movie. Like I enjoy elements of Man of Steel, but altogether not for me. That's how I feel about a lot of his team and his crossover work. I enjoyed elements, and then things did not go anywhere near where I was seeing them going, and I was just left disappointed. Or one of my favorite things to complain about, it was all this stuff.
Only you would have favorite things to complain about.
You know what I mean, because we all know I'm being sarcastic when I say that. But like when you build something up only for it to be the build-up for the next thing that you're building up to, that irritates the heck out of me.
Yeah.
And I felt strongly about that with him, with Secret Invasion and with The Siege. And in both stories, he had set up plot points that would have been epic to elevate the characters of Spider-Woman in Secret Invasion or elevate Carol Danvers during The Siege. Mm-hmm. And both absolutely missed opportunities. And I still can't bounce back for that. I think the best thing that could have happened during Secret Invasion is that the Skrull Princess, who's posing as Spider-Woman, is actually Spider-Woman posing as a Skrull Princess, posing as herself. Because Spider-Woman is a spy. You know, that's part of her history. I thought that would have been the ultimate turnaround. It didn't happen. I told him that at Baltimore Comic-Con the same year. And then he had a panel debate with Kirkman over how should you make comics? And he's like, I am writing 2 independent books and I'm paying all my bills, and look at my sales. Now look at your sales for your Avengers books, you're writing 5 comics a month. And I'm sorry, Kirkman won the debate, but then Bendis wrapped the debate up with, it doesn't matter, just get to your hotel room, start writing if you're a writer, just write. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that. Then the next time we have The Siege. During The Siege, Meteorite, or Moonstone, however you know her by, is now the new Miss Marvel for the Dark Avengers, mm-hmm. right? Blonde woman in a getup, that's it. Again, I thought it would have been wonderful if in the heat of battle, Carol took her down, Carol Danvers that is, takes her place as Miss Marvel wearing the old outfit, and goes and corners Osborn and takes him down a peg. That would have been a great moment. Both missed opportunities. I'm very particular. That said, I think he would be amazing with something like Hawkman. Mm-hmm. I think he would be amazing bringing back Blue Devil. You know, I'm sure it sounds like he'll do something with Superman. Listen, you know how I feel about Superman.
He's never written for DC before, has he? So this will be interesting.
It better be amazing.
He must have pitched something crazy for Superman if he's going to be.
If it's going to be Superman, yeah.
So we're thinking maybe not so much team up stuff, maybe some lesser known individual, try to elevate them to a higher status.
I think that is what he could be best at, is if he goes and elevates and tells a great story, focusing around a single character. And there's so many great characters at DC that could use it. Again, Hawkman is at the top of my list because I feel he's part of that early generation of heroes, and he's just missing. Do you
think he'd be good on something like a Dr. Fate, or
Dr. Fate would be good,
or like Blue Beetle, or some of the
Blue
mid-tier,
Blue Beetle I think is doing well on their own, but something edgier like Blue Devil, absolutely him. Hawkman, again, a little edgier, absolutely he can handle that and do great. There's just so much meat for him to work with. I don't feel like there's a lot of meat to work with the current Blue Beetle. I mean, there's some, because, you know, he's a little bit mystical and a little bit alien technology. I mean, there's fun things to play with there, but I feel like, you know, he needs He needs like a meaty thing to like
Yeah.
get into, and classic.
I think he's coming on board as part of the new age of superheroes initiative that they're doing.
Yeah.
That Steve Orlando had mentioned, and I bet you that he'll have maybe one or two of those really lesser known characters and bringing them to the forefront and
again, I hope and
which
pray.
I think would be the best of both.
I hope and
so.
pray it's Hawkman, because I feel like Hawkman is one of the things that has to emerge from this Dark Knight's
Yeah.
mess. Fun mess.
All right, so let's jump into this week's comics. Let's start it right off with a DC heavy hitter in Dark Knight's Batman Lost. Dark Knight's metal tie-in. So it seems by the cover that this may center around Batman himself.
Yes, it is.
So what's happening with the Bruce?
So Bruce sees himself as an old man in the mansion with his granddaughter wanting to read him a story about how Batman first started. So he starts reading about his first case, but it's not the way he remembers it. All the details are wrong. And he's like, I gotta find my way up and out of this, because if I keep going down, it'll drag me into the darkness, and Barbatos will win. I have to move up to the light. Right? Now someone does appear to him and explain some things to him while he's watching the caveman Batman go at it with the first incarnation of what will ultimately become Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Or Hawkwoman. And she's like, okay, so, oh, by the way, worst news ever. The first Batman, the caveman Batman, is half Seth, the original enemy of Hawkman and Hawkgirl. The one who will kill them in Egypt and, spur all of this, right? So, but Batman keeps moving between these worlds. So there's the world where he's losing out as on his first case and everything's going wrong. There's the world where he's losing out to the cavemen. The world where he's losing out in a Victorian cult, and they're going to sacrifice Selena Kyle. What? Oh, and in that one, he's actually his ancestor Thomas Wayne, the one who created the Court of Owls.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's supposed to sacrifice this woman. And of course, the woman who is represented by Selena is like, but this is everything I wanted. She's like, I'm doing this for you. It's all about you. And then, of course, a future era Batman where he's got, like, junior level heroes trying to be the heroes he worked with. But in all the scenarios, he is losing, because Barbatos wants to get that fear into him and feast on his fear, and that he's at a loss. So then, of course, he snaps back out of it to being with his granddaughter, and of course, she's a monster, and that's it. And so when the camera finally pulls away, Bruce is trapped inside that giant battery that Superman is at the top of.
Whoa.
Oh, and the darkest thing that Barbatos told him is, hey, remember that bat that came through your window? I'm that bat. I've been guiding you the whole way. And I'm the one who solved your first mystery, who helped you solve your first mystery so that you could get the confidence, so you could be what I need. He goes, because you have an infinite number of fears, Bruce, and that's infinite power for me, because you can feed off of all that fear. So good, dark and gritty. Oh, and then, which will tie into our next review, which is going to be really quick, he cuts to an image of all the Justice League members getting their butts handed to them by the evil Batman.
Which brings us to another Dark Knight metal tie-in, Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps.
Beautifully drawn by Ethan Van Sciver. Great, a great issue, focusing on Hal, and I liked it. And then, guess what happened? Based on what I told you from the other book.
Oh.
He got his butt handed to him.
Yeah.
So really, that's all these books are. It's just everybody getting their butt handed to them. Or the derriere. Caveman Batman, like Neanderthal. Yes, Caveman Batman, like a Neanderthal Batman, yes. That actually, what is that Batman series? Oh my god. Okay,
Is
so
it from Elseworlds?
No. It's from Batman. It's from.
I'm thinking of the Superman.
It's from okay. So Darkseid made a bullet right? So Batman actually had to use a gun on Darkseid, and then like that bullet like hit Batman and turned him. I don't even understand because he managed to take out Darkseid, so who knows? But it sent Batman through time. So Batman was it caveman Batman? Then Batman was moving forward through time as other iterations of the Bat, and Superman, Booster Gold, Rip Hunter, and the Time Masters that currently formed together went back to kind of fix things and bring Batman back. And Batman was supposed to arrive in the present as himself and just be like a bomb and just like set off, antimatter and the anti-life equation, everything Darkseid would want. But Superman, Wonder Woman, the rest of the Time Masters, Booster Gold, etc., they actually were able to remove Bruce from time and let him revive at Vanishing Point, and in order to stop the whole bomb effect. And Tim was instrumental in putting the clues together that would help them find him, which was really nice. Yeah, it's quite the comic.
That's insane. It is very, very beautifully drawn.
Yeah, and they want to strap him to the battery too, or to the tuning fork.
So they're just loading them all up, all of the superheroes on the tuning fork. Is that Deathstroke?
Yeah, Deathstroke.
Oh wow, they got everybody.
It's pretty bad.
So where do we think this is going?
This is going to lead. They're obviously going to find a way to win. So basically,
Let's hope so.
so Cyborg's metal. Cyborg is made of something called Element X, and they want to remove the Element X to have access to that metal to take over the entire multiverse.
Jeez. So in this, Cyborg's metal is from a mother box, right? In this,
He's fused with a mother box.
he's fused with a mother box. Okay. Wow. So it sounds like both of these are woos.
They're both woos. I like it. It's got its own story and its rhythm. It could. We'll get in, the only way it could ruin it itself is if it just turned into, oh look, we set everything up for another event, which it's not. It's supposed to end on the, oh look at all these new comics that are being born from here. I don't mind that. I'm totally okay with that. I don't mind an event that births new titles. I do mind when we went through a whole event to birth the next event. It makes me sick.
So next up is Justice League of America.
Yes.
Prisoners of
Prometheus. Surgical Strike Part 1. So it's really funny. When Prometheus first showed up in the Grant Morrison Justice League run, he was on their watchtower and he was a reporter doing some sensational coverage or whatever, and he set up traps for the Justice League. Again, he's some sort of reporter who's a little sensational here, gets the Ray all upset and raving so that he'll leave, starts setting small traps for everyone else in the headquarters. I forgot the name. The Sanctuary. They're staying in the Sanctuary, and which of course was already a publication. In backstory, in the realm of chaos, Dr. Chaos instead of Dr. Fate, who even has reverse colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I was like, oh, they did something weird with Dr. Fate, but this is
No, it's
like...
Dr. Chaos. So Dr. Chaos is being defeated by an unknown force. And we know that the might is coming, so I think it has to do with that. So anyhow, big woo for me. I wasn't sure how I felt about him being a reporter again, but then I realized it's a really fun throwback to his first appearance. So I was ultimately okay with it. Plus, it's going to give these characters a chance to shine. There's no Batman to help him because this is during the period of Batman is missing. And the other heroes are trying to take care of, the Batman thing. Also, I like the way he took out Killer Frost. He's like, people are stupid. They think you have ice powers. Fire is what gets you. He's like, but you feed on. He's like, you feed on heat. So I brought you to the coldest room in your headquarters, and you can barely move. Oh, also, Afterthought, the guy that they've been chasing down, he's one of the people trapped inside with them, and of course he wants to have a fight.
Wow.
So it was a I always like I said, I've always liked this book. I'm okay with it. But yeah, it was fun. It was a good way to start things off.
So far it's a woo?
So far it's a woo.
Very cool. All right, let's continue with DC, and
A
we
lonely
have
place to die. A living. A
A
lonely place.
Lonely
to live.
Place of Living. This is Batman Detective Comics number 968.
Yes.
That is a striking. This is Tim
Tim Drake.
Tim Drake. Yeah, this is Tim Drake.
So I really like the issue. They managed to save Batwoman. They managed to confront future Tim, and who activated Brother Eye, if you remember from last issue. So Batman rigs things so that Brother Eye will listen to him. Everything that Batman owns is under Tim's control. So Batman got all the non-computer equipped jets that he owns and put the Bat family in them to do a surgical strike, right, in Gotham, so that there would be nothing that future Tim could do with the old tech stuff.
Yeah.
So anyhow, they managed to get Brother Eye to retract to his armor, and then, of course, it drove him back to whatever future he came from.
Wow.
And then he's like, treasure every moment, hold each other as much as you can, because it's almost over. And then he vanishes. And it just leaves Tim, like, really horrified by whatever it is to come. So good issue.
Woo.
Oh yeah, woo. Good artwork. Tim Drake is back. I'm happy. I love Tim Drake. I'm not entirely sold by that costume, but I gotta tell you, that cover looks really good.
Cover looks fantastic. All right, our last DC cover this week is Mr. Miracle number 4,
Featuring Big Barda.
featuring Big Barda on the cover.
Alright, so as you know, he's got problems with the new High Father, which is Orion. And he already watched Light Ray just disintegrate that bug right in his living room. The bug from where the New Gods live. And then, of course, Barda gets into a fight with Light Ray. I like that Barda, we really see Barda the caretaker here, and I very much enjoy it. Ultimately, it comes down to a confrontation with his brother, and then his brother starts quoting all of this, like, New Genesis source wall, like, religion. Like, I am High Father, correct? Yes. It's my role of High Father. I get to select the judge, the accuser, and the jury. I elect myself to be all three. And so him and Mr. Miracle keep going at it, and he goes, just answer, true or false, until Scott just keeps answering true, false, false, and he goes, you hate New Genesis, true. You hate Apocalypse, true. You hate me, true. He goes, he's like, so all you are filled with hate, true. He goes, the anti-life equation fills people with hate, true. He goes, so there we have it. You must be the anti-life equation, right? And then he flips out at him, and he goes, since there's no way for me to contain you because you can escape every trap, he's like, turn yourself into me in 3 days so I can execute you.
Oh, my.
And then he's just like left there like a shattered man in Barda's arms at the end of the episode. And the end of the issue. And again, like, the whole thing is done in such a way, and I love how Barda put out like crudita for everyone to enjoy, and there's key moments where everyone goes for a dip.
Dipping.
Yes, because they need it.
Adam, can you give us the table cam again?
And I know this character spent time on Earth, and now that Rebirth happened, I'm not sure who he spent time on Earth with, but just him saying Jesus is very out of character. It fits the tension of the moment, like if we were watching this as a TV show, and this was humans, sure, but not for that. That was one of those take you out of the moment, story moments, which I wasn't happy with.
I think
But huge woo otherwise. It's just
awesome.
great storytelling.
My only counter argument to that might be that it's helping, like, maybe readers who who aren't super familiar with Highfather, with
Orion.
that it conveys the moment a little better, I guess. But that would be my only argument for it, I guess.
Yeah, it didn't do it. But hey, I got some really good news.
We got Marvel books. to
I've
talk
read
about.
some Marvel books.
Starting with She-Hulk 159. This is Legacy Jen Walters Must Die Part 1. You were saying this is a great jumping on point?
Yeah, okay, so I didn't realize it. When I picked up that Iceman issue, where it was like, the Champions Reunion Part 1,
Yeah.
and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, and at the end it was so cute because it gave a background on all the teams that Bobby's been on. No, I didn't realize it. It was a jumping on issue, and there was a little wrap up in the back to let you know who he is.
Yeah.
So all of these have that. So she meets her new friend, scientist named Robin, who makes her think that she's going to help her. And sure enough, she locks her up in a chair, and it's like, don't worry, we're gonna do things. It's gonna be great. And she goes, no, you can't trust. You can't. She's like, who can I trust? Who can I trust, Jen? Right? And the leader shows up. And so this woman is not working for the leader. She's working with the leader, and she starts extracting stuff from Jen, and she's like, because I want to be powerful too, and ends it on a really menacing note. In the meantime, Hellcat, Patsy Walker is getting settled into her new apartment. That's like the background story. And then at the end, a little wrap up on who is Jen Walters. I liked it. I approve. It gets a woo for me. I've always liked She-Hulk, so this was good. And also I like that, it's She-Hulk's thought boxes still talking to the audience.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. So yeah, very, very good approval rating.
Very cool.
And I read some Marvel.
And then
It's by the way, there's a lot of conversation here, but it's really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, because there's a whole thing with her, them eating at a diner, they're going back and forth talking, her and Robin. Yeah, because she's got to sway her into this.
Yeah.
Can't make out what you're saying.
Oh wow. Just double check on it. All right, so next up is Moon Knight, number 188, Legacy Crazy Runs in the Family Part 1. Again, another jumping on point, right?
Yes. So this therapist is analyzing another man with multiple personality disorder, who is not Mark Spector. But she is drawn to this guy because he has a lot of Mark Spector's qualities. So of course there's Mark Spector, the original Moon Knight. He's got two alternate personalities, and Khonshu, the god of death, inside his head. Because the god of death chose to make him his his champion. So this woman is talking to this guy, and she's having all these perceptions of who this guy is and what personalities are in his head, right? And the more she starts researching Egypt, the more she gets into Egyptology, right? The more she starts having her own bizarre dreams and her own worries, until it results that this guy totally snaps. Oh, in her research, she's like, oh, the sun god Ra. So she brings all her research to this guy, right? Ra, sorry.
Ra
is the sun god of Kryptonian.
He's a Kryptonian god.
Also in Hindu.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I always find that interesting as I found that out later in life. So she's like, oh, and here's Amun-Ra, blah, 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 right? So anyhow, the guy goes nuts at the end of the comic, has bitten off a nurse's nose and all sorts of other things, and then ignites himself on fire and reveals that, oh, I finally know who I am. I'm the avatar for Ra. And of course she is horrified. She's like, I'm getting exactly what I deserved because I'm meddling in things that I shouldn't have been meddling in, and now I've just released this maniac onto the world, And so mind you, all this, such a setup issue, not about no Mark Spector in sight.
Yeah.
The issue is following her, and her wanting to get back to Mark, which I'm not sure what the relationship is, because I'm a little at a loss when it comes to Moon Knight. but really good setup issue. And then of course it gave us a little reminder
Nice
of
little
Moon,
wrap up at
a little
the end
of who Moon Knight is.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Very cool.
yay!
It's awesome. So, woo so far?
Yeah, total woo. I want you to know I'm like happy on like multiple levels because I was standing in the comic book store and I'm like, and no one even made a suggestion to me. I said I want to pick up something Marvel, especially to review because people complain I'm not reading anything Marvel, and I'm like, I just don't know what. Like I just don't feel good. I picked them up and I flipped through them. I go, oh, this is interesting, and then I'll mention it here.
Yeah.
But I wanted something that like I can enjoy to talk about. And when I saw both of these were, part one, I said, oh, they're jumping on points, and like they're literal jumping on points. Like I read them, I enjoyed them, and I could recommend them wholeheartedly to you as jumping on points for comics.
Awesome. Well, our last comic this week, you and I both read.
Yes.
And it is from Image and Top Cow, and it is called Port of Earth.
Yes.
And this is the cover that we have here. Can you give me the table cam? It's basically about the consortium.
Yeah.
The consortium comes to Earth. Aliens made contact with us, and it's the consortium. And it says they don't come in peace, they don't come in violence, they come for business. And basically, they have technology that all of the ships run on water. And our planet is 70% water, so they offer us this technology of powering things by water in exchange for them building a spaceport 50 miles off the California coast in the ocean that basically ships can stop and fuel up and leave.
And no one should be anywhere near it.
Right. Because it turns out that, these guys, at first they're hailed as the UN of aliens, and then it turns out they're not the UN of aliens, they're the Chevron of aliens. And that they basically go out and they set up these gas stations across the galaxy. And it obviously, when you have a natural resource like that everything's powered on, it brings the riffraff and people down on their luck. They're looking for a new start or whatever. And so these aliens show up, and they're supposed to stay contained to the spaceport, but sometimes they wander off into Earth. And then there's some miscommunication between humans and aliens. The next thing you know,
right, there's constant warnings. Like the humans are not going to understand you.
Yeah.
I love that on the warning labels on the cover.
Yeah, it's very cool. The ESA, Earth Security Agency. And so what happens is you have these major incidents where hundreds of people are killed, both alien and humans, and it causes the need for a security agency to be born. And for 18 months, the security agency has been in operation, helping to keep aliens at the spaceport. If anybody gets out, they go out and they're trained to deal with the situations non-lethally, to protect both humans and aliens and try to keep everything, sort of kosher. And in the middle of this book, we find ourselves, there's a transparency argument being made, and so this news organization is allowed to send these drone cameras with two of the ESA operatives. One who seems very much gun-ho on shooting aliens, and one who is trying to explain that, well, that's not really how they're supposed to deal with things, and they're not even allowed to draw their weapons without proper authorization, let alone set their guns to kill. So, and then they go... Now there's a big meeting happening with the consortium aliens on the spaceport, so there's heightened security. Meanwhile, these two agents, McIntyre and I forget who the other guy is.
Yeah,
McIntyre.
I could remember either of their names at this point.
So they're the ones that are on this like makeshift TV show, and they've been sent on sort of the routine call at El Grande about something. There's always a call from this place during a heightened security alert, and they find a dead human, and there's evidence that there is a red level threat alien that has never been on the planet before and is not registered at the spaceport currently, which means that he snuck onto a ship, stuck out of the ship, and has snuck into Earth's population. He's possibly doing some damage. They head into a storm drain because they detect that he's in there, and then that's where this first issue ends.
It's a good cliffhanger.
It's a very good cliffhanger. What did you think? What did you think of this new series? Well, first off, what made you pick this book up? Because you brought this book in and we're reading it, and I looked at it and I said, "Oh, this is right up my alley," and I sat down and read it. Right
Okay,
away.
so that one was recommended to me.
Okay.
Yeah, someone was picking it up. He's like, "Oh no, you should. I really like Zach Kaplan."
Yeah.
Right, and he's like, "You should give it a shot." I get Zach Kaplan wrote something called Eclipse or whatever.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with it. Shame on me. But like, yeah. So he's like,
You
"Oh,
don't know every comic book ever made, Cliff.
God, it's rough, man."
Why do we even do a show?
I don't know. It's hurtful.
So that's awesome that he recommended it because I probably am going to pick up issue 2 of this.
Yes.
So what did you think? What did you think?
In an era where we argue about original stories, it's a fairly original story. You know, I mean, it still has all the familiar tropes of everything else, but I love the idea of like, we came for business. Not we came in peace, no, we came for business. Love that. Love that they turned out to be like ExxonMobil, you know, that they're Chevron, right? That's hilarious. You know, and I love that just sets up where we're at, but then the trope is, yeah, but these guys work security. You know, oh, there's a really dangerous threat here, and it's one that we know nothing of. We, you know, with all the security and everything they know.
And they even did a little thing in the back here.
A little background thing, I love
the
that.
table cam again, please. This is first. That's very cool. I really like this book. I love that it's somewhat topical, told in a refreshing way.
Yes.
I felt like there was a little bit of it was a little exposition-y with
Audio from Cliff is bad.
Oh, that's
How is that
interesting.
possible? We're using the same microphone.
Bad.
I'm too loud. I'm too loud.
That's possible, but I mean, we usually compensate for that.
Do we have to tell Steve to give us a new microphone?
No, I'm sure it's just a software hardware issue.
It better be. It
Um,
better be something easily corrected.
So
I'll be on him.
I really enjoyed this book. Like I said, it was a little exposition-y with the TV sort of camera setup, but my only worry is that I hope that these security guys are like killed in the next issue, because I don't find them interesting at all. I want more interesting characters.
Oh, I think they'll turn out to be interesting.
We'll see.
Look, for me, first issues and first episodes, is the premise enough to get me in, and then let's take the ride.
True,
Because we've proven time and again.
It's definitely better than Betty Page. I'll give them that.
But we've proven time and again that our early entries on things, you know, usually are not, you know, predictive of what we got. All right, so quickie stuff to talk about.
So,
Batman Shadow #2, love it. Damien, the whole Batman family is in it. It's great. Just in case you really love Batman, and the use of the shadow is wonderful. I talked about it last week, Superman 800. Which is also Wonder Woman 700 came out today. I wish I had that.
yeah, again, the same thing where the regular cover didn't say anything,
And then the
secondary cover was just like this with the 700 behind it.
But this is the issue continuing the Apocalypse storyline. Wonder Woman, Lois Lane becomes one of the female Furies.
Oh,
because,
right.
Brandy
Yeah,
respects her, and John tries to get away from Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
Which and John screams up and away and does the leap and the thing is John only leaps so far, but on Apocalypse can he actually fly?
Ooh.
I think they're gonna just not give it to us now. Also old but noteworthy, Nightwing, the New Order Part 3. I really liked it, and Much to my okay, so there are still people with powers, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Green Lantern shows up, Jon Stewart, to confront him, and he has created weapons that are anti-construct, so they can go through the light of battery construct, so he can actually hit John. John calls him backup, and backup arrives in the form of Wally West and Starfire.
Wow.
And she's there with a short haircut, fully geared up, and she is the mother of their child. So, you know there's going to be problems. It's so funny how now, having watched so much of The Gifted, how this ties into it.
Really?
Not ties into it, but you know,
similar-
feels reminiscent,
similar
because he's
themes
like,
and stuff.
my son was hiding this from me for a whole year. You know? Now, talk about huge disappointment. This freaking thing that blends into our background. Action Comics.
Who's the table cam,
Yeah.
Adam?
Action Comics 991. This whole time, Clark tells him, you know, like, I detected something from when I first met you. And he goes, no, it's the staff. It keeps me alive. There's this piece of kryptonite inside me. And he's like, no, get away, son. Find your family. Get to safety. He's like, he's going to come for you. But no, I love everything that you stand for. And that you're my son, and I love you. And then he gets dragged off into the light, you know. And then, you know, Superman gets his family back, and they're standing on top of the Daily Planet building. And he opens up his super hearing to all of the devastation in the world, you know? And he's like, Lois, I have to go. People are losing hope, and I have work to do. And he just takes off to go be Superman and start trying to, like, fix everything. You know? So whatever's happening. But again, this whole thing, and it brought us nowhere to be set up for the Doomsday Clock, which I guess is the end of this month we're going to be getting it. But I didn't like that it was a whole. I just am not happy that it was a whole story for setup, and he never even says who the villain is. You know, he's like, just be worried about him, be afraid of him, and I mean, we know it's going to be Dr. Manhattan, maybe even Ozymandias. You know what? We're all so sure it's Dr. Manhattan, but Ozymandias could have a hand in this. But everyone thought this was Ozymandias because you know, the man from Oz.
Yeah.
I still have no idea why Jor-El chose the name Oz. Like, it just... is contrived the word I'm looking for?
It just seems empty and pointless.
So contrived is the word I'm working for.
So where is this on the woo-boo scale?
After how many chapters? 5 chapters of this.
Yeah.
You know? And at the end, I'm happier with A Lonely Place of Living.
Maybe this is what Brian Michael Bendis is going to be taking over as Action Comics.
Great. Tales of New Krypton with Jor-El.
All right, let's move on to our next segment. What did we watch? And again, we're going to start off with a little bit of news. Oh, look, we're covering them up perfectly. Yeah, what are we going to talk about?
Well, look at my horn shoulder.
Ready? We're going to dissolve. So, their news came out earlier this week that Disney held talks with 20th Century Fox about purchasing everything except news and sports from them.
Which definitely would have created a monopoly.
What? No.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean if they had bought those
Yeah,
things?
of course.
Yeah. Because they would have owned two networks, two broadcast networks, and they really didn't need ESPN and Fox Sports at the same time. So, but the thing that would have affected us the most is the Fox movie X-Men universe coming back to Marvel.
And the Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four
I-
and Deadpool and X-Men.
Yeah, you know what? Fox did such a nice job with Deadpool. I kind of like you better hire the same people when you bring Deadpool over.
The interesting thing is that Ryan Reynolds said he's wondering how that would affect Deadpool. Because I forget if it was Alan Horn or Bob Iger said at one point, oh, we'll never do a rated R movie. And the thing is, I don't think he has anything to worry about, because I don't know if he knows this, but Disney shareholders like money.
Yeah.
And when you can take a $50 million movie and make $700 million with it, that's a lot of cheddar.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of profit. And profit goes right to the shareholders. So I think he'll be fine, even if this happens. Now these talks did happen. They are not currently happening, and it does not look like there's any movement on this. But I am speculating that this news leaked to see what the public's reaction would be, to see how the stocks did, because the stocks went through the roof when this news broke. And I think that this was a way for them to gauge whether or not they should move forward with it.
Oh, I'm sure. And of course, fan reaction of, oh, Fantastic Four and X-Men coming to back home. Oh.
So what do you think? Would you want this to happen? And if so,
for the sake of the
what would
Fantastic
you
Four
want from it?
alone,
Yeah.
for the sake of the Fantastic Four alone, yes. What would and it's not even a matter of what I would want for it. What I think is practical for them is everyone's getting older. Robert Downey Jr. won't be Iron Man forever, and a way to continue the legacy of their Marvel universe, is ushering in a new age of heroes, having mutants and the Fantastic Four to play with as new toys would give us just more Marvel, until they're forced into a period of, okay, let's wrap all this up and reboot and recast everybody because you're all old. we can't have all of you here.
Would you think this would? So, do you think they would keep any of the continuity from the current?
Absolutely
X-Men
not,
movies?
none.
And is there anything that you think any properties or potential properties that you think this might hurt? Either that Marvel currently owns or that.
Only concerned with Deadpool.
Only concerned with that.
Only concerned with Deadpool. And obviously, if they want to play around a lot with Magneto, they got a lot of explaining to do with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
That's true. Although I believe they said that their parents died in.
They did, but that doesn't mean anything.
That's true.
You were told a lie, Wanda, and now my son is dead. Like you could work with that really fast. It's just like in the comic where like Vision and Scarlet Witch are like trying to like piece together parts of her past, and it's like Magneto, what are you doing here? Please call me Eric. Wanda, I am your father.
Do you think that?
I don't know why I make him sound like Ricardo Montalban.
That's okay. Ricardo Montalban is amazing. I'm wondering if these talks were going on, in the past month or so, or 2 months, whatever. We don't really know. But I'm wondering if these talks are why Marvel has yet to officially announce a Phase 4 or anything beyond Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Homecoming 2, or the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming. And I'm wondering if perhaps they're waiting for this. They were waiting to see how this was going to work out before they said, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to get Fantastic Four, we're going to get this, we're going to show you X-Men, we're going to bring in Avengers versus X-Men.
And which would be beautiful, but nothing. And not to mention, we'll get like a proper Phoenix saga.
Well, we're getting a Phoenix movie next year.
Yeah, I know, but it already doesn't involve the Shi'ar or anything. Like the people.
Are you sure?
Yes, I've read multiple articles.
I thought it definitely was going to have the Shi'ar in it.
Okay, but I can't be sure. Again, there's so much information that comes at you, so much. I hope they give us a really good story, but again, if they're in the Marvel Universe proper, I know that they will lead us to a Dark Phoenix saga. Yeah. In fact, what would be better than Phase 4 begins with Fantastic Four, and the Uncanny X-Men. And then slowly but surely, and that's our big phase 4 introductions.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely over the next 3-4 years, all these stories are building to something until finally they must face off against the global threats of the Dark Phoenix. The interstellar threat of the Dark Phoenix.
All I want to see is the big and blocky Phoenix Buster.
Oh yeah. Depending on who Iron Man is at that point.
Well, what's his name from Iron Man 3, the kid,
Yes.
is in Avengers 4. Like, that actor who is reprising that role is in Avengers 4.
I'm looking forward to see what they do with it. Hey,
Iron Lad, anyone?
well, that would be Kang the Conqueror.
Kang the Conqueror?
Yeah, Iron Lad was Kang the Conqueror.
No.
Yes.
I don't know my Marvel history.
No, dude, it was so what happened was Kang, according to
Is Kang confirmed? Kang is in Avengers 4.
that, it would be great if he were Kang, but Kang comes from the future anyway.
Well, yeah, but let's say that it's him. He's
It was
like,
him
hey,
the
I'm
whole
Iron
time.
Lad, and then they're fighting a big bad, and then it turns out that Kang is the big bad, and it's actually it's a future version of this kid.
My interpretation of this kid and the world of Iron Man is, and they might decide to kill Tony off in this movie, but should they kill Tony Stark off, great, here comes what I call Teen Tony.
Teen Tony.
Okay, so there's a horrible thing, right? Like, so Iron Man turned evil and was killed in an Avengers storyline, and the Avengers like, well, we need Iron Man, so they used time travel and got teenage Tony Stark and brought him to the present, and he fought alongside the Avengers as Teen Tony. Like, everyone called him Teen Tony, right? Fox Show Legion. I think the TV shows are locked in because the TV shows have separate contracts.
The other thing too, Joe, is that I believe Marvel Studios worked in conjunction with Fox on at least Legion, if not both Legion and The Gifted, because Fox did not have the rights to make TV shows of those characters, and I believe it was part of a trade for them to get Ego the Living Planet for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 to allow them to create Legion and The Gifted. I believe that's how.
Yeah, that was
that was the trade that they did. So I don't think the TV shows are in any danger. And again, Disney shareholders like money, and Deadpool makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're not gonna do anything with Deadpool.
Other than he might be integrated into their universe. But even then,
darn!
But even then,
Deadpool with the Avengers.
even then, he could make
Don't say it ain't so.
he could make so many jokes to the camera
Oh, yeah.
about like, oh, remember when I wasn't part of this universe? Like,
Exactly. I mean, there's such a huge opportunity.
or
there.
they might leave him in his
Like-
own pocket universe on purpose because
That's true.
It's for
Yeah,
him.
and the thing is like they're moving closer and closer to a point where not everything is going to be as connected as they tried to lead us on to be in the early formation of the MCU. So I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities, a lot of things, but I would love to see this happen. I know a lot of people are like, give us diversity with properties, because the other thing too is like if they come over, are we not gonna? When are we gonna see an X-Men movie? If Marvel's doing 3 movies a year, 2 or 3 movies a year, how many years until we see an X-Men movie?
If they really do this deal and fast track it, we could see an X-Men movie the end of 2019.
But the thing is that at some point you have too many movies on your slate, and then is quality going to suffer because of that?
No, because you have individual teams. The only thing that's going to suffer is box office fatigue, which is something that's happening now.
Really? You think that?
I have lots of friends who are like, oh my god, I just can't do it. I just don't have the strength to go see Thor right now, and Justice League is coming out in 2 weeks, and my mind is like spinning that these movies are like back to back, and then December 16th is Star Wars. Oh my god, like they're just like they're fatigued. They're like, it was like in the beginning it was like, oh my god, I'm so excited, and now it's like it's just too much. It's just too like it's like so far this year I did It and Guardians 2 and Spider-Man and Wonder Woman, and now these two other movies just dropped out of the sky, and next comes Star Wars, and it's a lot for them. Plus the Netflix shows and the TV shows and everything else.
That's interesting. I sort of see it as more of a TV show aspect, where it's like, oh, every 3 months I get to sit down and watch the next installment of this episodic storyline.
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean, it's fine.
I think, yeah. Well, Inhumans is not. So Joe is saying in the chat that he's asking how much are they going to reboot the X-Men in the MCU, and that the Inhumans were supposed to be their replacement in the MCU. Well,
Just like in the comics, there's room for both.
well, let me tell you, Inhumans ain't replacing anything. If anything, I mean,
If they're lucky to survive.
Inhumans was literally Marvel's first failure. I think, like actual failure. I think that not since you know the, as Adam put it this morning, slightly boring Incredible Hulk movie, has there been something as
Which one does he consider the slightly boring one?
in the Incredible Hulk?
With Edward Norton?
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
He's rewatching them because we were talking about our Marvel top 10s the other day, and he said, I got to rewatch them all now because I gotta decide if my top 10 is actually the top 10. So,
I mean, it has its slow moments, and yeah, it's got slow moments.
but I don't think Inhumans is going to be the replacement for anything. I think that the X-Men will be the X-Men, and I think I agree with Cliff. As much as I really wouldn't want them to reboot it, I think that they definitely would reboot it.
Oh yeah, of course they have to.
I don't think they have to. All I'm saying is that Hugh Jackman said he would only return to play Wolverine for one reason and one reason only, and that's to be in an Avengers movie. And I think they can make that happen if this deal goes through, and they should make it happen. And I mean, because to me, whenever I've read the Avengers comics, I've always read like the big epic stories, like Avengers versus X-Men, or Fear itself, or Civil War. Like, I've read those comics. I go back and I read those trade paperbacks, and Wolverine and Spider-Man are on the teams. They're part of the Avengers in my book. And to not see Wolverine in the movies as the Avengers...
If you're going to go down that road, then I want my Luke Cage there too.
That's fine. Put Luke Cage... I love all these characters. I want to...
And I'm just saying,
so.
They do a lot of weird behind-the-scenes stuff that... we're not privy to. We read between the lines, and we just give our thoughts on it. But like, it is weird the way the Netflix shows conduct themselves against the rest of the Marvel universe.
Well, it's not just the Netflix shows; it's everything Jeff Loeb is in charge of.
Yeah.
All of the TV stuff it reports to DC Entertainment, and all of the
Marvel
movies.
Entertainment.
What did I say?
You said DC Entertainment. That's the CW, babe. The CW.
Marvel Entertainment, and then Kevin Feige reports directly to Alan Horn or Bob Iger, whichever. I mean, he has circumvented that thing, which is good, because I think that they shouldn't be that. But the thing is like, you can still have a connected universe. It just it doesn't need to be as heavily connected as they.
No, but like I said, it would be nice if the characters in the Netflix shows could use the name, like I've never heard them name the superheroes.
They haven't named them, but they've mentioned them. They've directly talked about them.
Do I look like the flag waver to you? Like, that's the thing that makes me feel weird. Like, if you live in that universe, you know who Captain America is. And maybe somebody might offhandedly say, oh, that flag waver. But no, everyone else is going to be like, you'll be like, what do I look like, Captain America?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, so all that leaves in my mind is, why are you doing that? Like, what weird thing is going on?
Can I just mention a quick aside? Did you see Arrow from last week?
Yes.
And they directly mentioned the Incredible Hulk.
But that's okay, because that's.
But the thing is like, DC shows are directly like mentioning those heroes, and the heroes within their own universe can't. Anyway.
Right, and exactly. Well, again, parody and humor allows you to escape anything, any legal crap.
Yes, Joe. Jessica Jones season 2 is going to be amazing, and they did hire the best soundmen in the industry.
Because we know them.
Because we know at least one of the guys who worked on Jessica Jones season 2. He's a very good friend of mine, and I met the Boom Op, I think, and I apologize, I forgot his name, but he's a super great guy. They're both great guys, and I'm looking forward to it. So let's move on to the big topic this week. You and I and Joe went and saw Thor Ragnarok. And this was I looked for a funny picture, but I like this picture. Taika Waititi, he's doing his thing. He's directing. He also played Korg in the movie.
Yep.
Which is fantastic.
He was also in the Green Lantern movie.
We don't like to talk about that.
I'm gonna bring it up.
He's A, terrible in that movie, and B, most of that movie is terrible. So
It might have made it to one of my top 10s.
You'll find out next
Mind
week.
you, the bottom.
You'll find out next week.
The bottom of one of my top 10s.
So anyway, so this movie, again, this is going to be spoiler filled, so if you haven't seen it, rush out and go watch it and then come back.
If you have not watched Thor Ragnarok, this is where you should stop watching. Hit pause or close, but remember to subscribe first. And go see the movie and then come back and report in. Yeah. By the way, well, yeah, no, it's no point telling you. Okay, so like, there's Stranger Things season 2 has Beyond Stranger Things, and I love that every episode opens with "Don't watch this" if you haven't seen the show. Oh, there's Stefan.
Oh,
Hey, Stefan.
Stefan's upstairs.
I know, just like to
Probably
say
watching
hi.
the show. Either that or it's Lindsay on Stefan's account.
That's okay, same thing.
So Thor Ragnarok is the story of Thor has been captured and is on Sakaar, and he's trying to make his way back to Asgard because Hela, who is Odin's firstborn, has returned to take Asgard and or destroy Asgard. And so, well, her power comes from Asgard.
Yeah,
And
she doesn't want to destroy
She has
Asgard.
returned to rule Asgard, and so Thor has to make it back in time to stop her. And along his journey, he meets up with Hulk, who is the Grand Champion at the Grand Master's Sakaar Coliseum, and one of Asgard's former fiercest warriors, one of the Valkyries. Do we ever get her name, or she's just called the Valkyrie?
Yeah, they just call it the Valkyrie. We don't get a name.
She's from a team of Valkyries, some of the fiercest warriors. It was all female.
Well,
army.
she's the last of the Valkyries.
She's the last of the Valkyries, who Hela had destroyed in their last battle to try to stop her before Odin locked her away, banished her from Asgard, and
He didn't banish Hela from Asgard.
banished Hela from
Yeah,
Asgard.
because Valkyrie's like,
Valkyrie just
to
left,
heck with this,
and
I'm
now
out.
she's a drunk, and
Yeah.
her introduction in the movie is amazing. It's hysterical.
I know.
So,
I do really enjoy her. I hate that she's a powerful badass drunk, because I just feel like it's too familiar of a trope. But I do love everything else about her.
the trope though is that she drinks because she's dealing with her pain.
But that's what that's what all the classic warrior people do. In
Yeah, but it's
movies.
nice to see that in a female character.
I feel like we've seen it before. Like, oh my god, I forgot her name. But okay,
It's not prominent.
You're right. It's not. No. I just the Long Kiss Goodbye.
An obscure movie from the '90s that probably nobody that's watching has ever seen.
Okay,
You ever
so
seen
let me-
Long Kiss Goodnight?
You
don't
yeah,
count.
You need to see it. If you haven't seen the Long Kiss
Long Kiss Goodnight is great. Gina Davis
it's
and Samuel L. Jackson.
I love her.
So,
I love my favorite. Gina
when
Davis
she's like
movie.
throwing the knife and she's like, "Oh, look what I
I
can do."
own the DVD and the VHS.
Oh my god.
That's how much I love the movie.
Okay.
Shane Black movie.
It isn't a Shane Black movie.
I think so.
Oh, did he wrote it though? He didn't direct it because I think Iron Man 3 is his. No, is Iron Man 3? No, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is his first directorial movie, isn't it? We'll have to look that
really?
up. I think
Yeah.
so. Can you look that up for us, Adam, on IMDb?
I'm glad I brought up a movie that we all enjoy.
Oh, I love the movie's fantastic.
But anyhow, it's a small thing. very small thing that I was like, but I mean, you're right. It's a great time. I had a great time with it.
The great
I like how Tycho's right in the middle here.
yeah. I've been watching a lot of interviews with him. He's a very funny guy, and
He
just
is.
very,
He's
like,
so great.
He's amazing. I
You know, one of his interviews, he went on about like just how miserable he was filming Green Lantern because he had so few scenes.
Yeah.
So it was many days of him. It was many days of him sitting on set, not being needed, and
Did
many
he-
nights sitting up in his hotel room.
Did he write any of Green Lantern?
Probably.
I'd be interested to know that. But for those of you who don't know, he plays Hal's best friend in Green Lantern.
Yeah.
So this is an action comedy. This is
Yeah.
very different tonally for Thor.
Yeah.
So what did you think overall?
No, I had a great time. You know, it was very fast paced. Okay, but can we do story time? Can we do story time? We're gonna do story time.
Yes, let's do story time.
All right, so part of what affected, I'm going to go see this again, because part of what affected my enjoyment of this film is that we went to, what is it, Regal Cinema 18?
So we went to, I don't know how many theaters they have, but
No, well, no, because Regal Cinema 16 is the one where I live, in we're near me in Poughkeepsie.
well, the number is just how many theaters they have.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so anyhow, whatever it is.
So you can have multiple Regal Cinema 18s.
Fine, so whatever Regal Cinema this is in Crossgates Mall, don't you ever forget it.
By the way, Stefan had mentioned that if you ever go see IMAX in 3D, you go to Crossgates where we went. But if you're seeing IMAX in 2D, just forget it and go to Colony and watch it in RPX 2D because their seats are more comfortable.
If we had known.
Where were you, Stefan, when we bought our tickets?
I know, where were you, man?
I hope you're watching. It says you're watching.
Never again. The Regal in Poughkeepsie for me is like my new like domain. Like it's
That's
my,
the one in the Galleria, right?
Yes, it is my.
Which is right
sanctuary.
near Kerwin's Game
It's
Store,
on the
Poughkeepsie.
opposite end of the mall from the new Kerwin's Game Store Poughkeepsie, with
Now open.
with their current manager David Haas.
Dave Haas.
So
David
dude,
Haas.
he was on his Snapchat this morning saying, "I'm here. Everyone come visit."
He started yesterday.
He did.
Yep. Very excited.
Yes.
No, he started Monday.
Yes.
Today's Wednesday, by the way.
I know. New Comic Day. Did you know?
I didn't.
Okay. But anyhow, so those
Put 'em out this
seats
morning,
were murderous. Okay? Like, I'm a big dude. Me being a big dude is my fault. The arms and the soda cup, I mean, everything was cutting into my body. I was losing my mind. And we paid $20 a ticket.
$20 for IMAX 2D.
This is the most expensive I have ever paid, and I thought we were going to get a premium experience. I was wrong. I was so wrong.
I have been there before, so I knew what to expect. I was not paying $20 to go to that theater and watch that movie. I was paying $20 to go with my friends to see that movie, and then one of my friends did not have a positive experience.
Exactly.
He did give me his popcorn, so I was kind of okay.
Yeah. So I went out to complain. There's actually like a manager's table to complain to, and I'm like, you guys can do nothing for me. And they're like, yeah, sorry. And I'm like, I don't like to write negative reviews on Yelp or Google or anything, so I haven't. So my negative review is right here for those of you watching. All right? Go find a theater that you like and stick with it and be loyal to them, because this is outrageous. All right, so I was very uncomfortable, and it definitely, me being uncomfortable the whole time was infecting the impact of the film on me. I just think that that's a very natural thing that would happen to people.
Oh, absolutely,
You know?
absolutely.
So,
And movie theaters, by the way, I worked for a very busy movie theater, and movie theaters are generally very aware of this fact, and the good ones try to take steps to alleviate those things. Some movie theaters are doing assigned seating where you get to choose your seat before you go in. They're upgrading
AMC, IMAX, and Palisades.
They're upgrading to premium seating where it's big chairs, it's fewer seats, but it's bigger chairs, reclining, comfy, so that you're getting something for the money that you're spending. This theater and this auditorium, nothing. These seats have probably been in there for the last 15, 20 years.
They are the same seats I recall sitting in when I saw Titanic on opening weekend. What, 20 years ago?
Almost 20 years ago.
Almost 20 years ago.
18 years.
Yeah, thank you. That's the last time I
It
was in
pains
CrossFit
me.
Mall.
It pains me that I know that I can remember seeing that I was in high school.
It pains me that sitting in those tight chairs flashed me back to it. But there you have it. So
And he wasn't crying because of that memory of Titanic. He was crying from the kidney pain.
yes. Oh my God! Did you see me race to the bathroom at the end? Like this is not even a joke. This is all real.
You mentioned the kidney pain afterwards.
It was all real. It was so bad.
Post Ragnarok.
But the movie was
Cliff
good.
was having a Ragnarok in his kidneys.
I was. It was bad. It was scary. But the movie was very good, funny, fast-paced, lots of action. If there's a failing, and I don't find it a failing. This is Thor's movie. It's Thor-centric, and that's fine. But if there's a failing in my mind, it's that we are not getting Hulk Banner do not receive real attention. You know, like there is no room to. The story is told and just very gently. You know,
there's a very unintrusive story with the Hulk going on.
right, and I do feel for people who were really, and no one's actually said this to me. There's a lot of people I know who saw the movie and were just like, ah, and I just feel like, were you going for Hulk? Like if you were going for Hulk, I could see that. I could see where this was like, well, I went for Hulk, but no. But you know, they got a lot of cute moments.
What I found, so I like the movie a lot actually.
Well, first of all, I mean, Hela was fantastic.
Everybody was fantastic.
Yeah. And real character development for the villain.
I'm going to be honest with you. I would beg my wife for a hall pass on Kate Blanchett in that costume.
Well, she looks amazing.
Oh my God! Like I was.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I love the movie a lot. I loved the comedy. I loved the fast-paced action. I felt like there was enough heart and story involved that it, even though it was a joke a minute almost constantly, there were some brief moments where it slowed down and was thoughtful and they sort of let things rest, but it was not a lot, and that was okay because it worked. And the great thing is you really felt like the difference in this movie was that Thor was vulnerable because he was very much out of his element, and he didn't have his hammer, he didn't have his, and I think that's what allowed the comedy to enter into the story, was that he was such a fish out of water that he didn't really know how to act or what to do, and it allowed for this comedic elements and his comedic attitude towards stuff, and
Well,
it was sort of him coping with this.
I got two things for you though. Actually, he coped with it way better than Banner did. You know.
Right, and what's interesting is that, and less well than Hulk did.
Yeah.
Because Hulk and Banner's attitudes are very different.
Oh,
about this whole
completely
situation.
polarized. Yeah. But Matt Damon was theater low-key. That's great, because there's a scene in the movie, you'll catch it. But no, people drinking the water wouldn't turn into Hulk. That just happens to be Bruce Banner. That just happens to be Bruce's physiology. It's so weird, multiple Bruces in comic realms.
True.
So that was an answer to Joe's question about if Hulk bled into the water, wouldn't other Hulks be born? So, like, no, not necessarily.
Besides, spoiler alert, Surtur would just destroy them anyway.
What's his name? Jeff Goldblum. Just full Jeff Goldblum. It was just, if you were looking for Jeff Goldblum delivered Jeff Goldblum every moment he's on screen.
Every actor in this movie has moments to shine.
Yes.
Including Matt Damon as Loki. Watch the movie, you'll get it. And I just adored everything. I'm trying to think, what are some negatives about it? You said you mentioned the whole
if people do not like a fast-paced movie, this movie it's really fast-paced. One of my friends said that it was obnoxious. Although he loved the movie, he said it was obnoxiously fast-paced. You know, like that was his assessment of that, and it's true. The movie just
If it
keeps
was
coming.
if it was any faster, I probably would have some negative feelings about that. But I just really enjoyed it. I'm at a moment in my life where I love sort of the less deep, movies. I don't want to have to think a lot about a movie. I don't, but I want to get a lot out of it, and I got a lot out of this.
Let me tell you, I thought there was a lot for us to get out of this because it really brought Thor and Loki's story around for us full circle from where they were as brothers when we meet them in the first movie. Also, another reason I don't believe Thor necessarily is a fish out of water, he's been traveling the 9 realms. I mean, granted with his hammer, but when we first meet Thor, he doesn't have the hammer. His father has not given him that gift. So he has had a lifetime of battles and challenges and things where he's had to rely on not the hammer. So
I agree. I just think that he doesn't have the hammer and he's not the strongest person in the room. And those are two very, there's even a joke about him not being the strongest Avenger.
Oh, right. Was so hurtful.
It's hysterical. And the thing is I think, and he's used to people rallying with him. He's used to saying, let's go, let's charge the castle. And then everybody follows him. And he's doing that now. And everybody's like, you're crazy, dude.
What's wrong with you?
You're just sit down. You've just been beaten in battle. Forget it. And so, I'm going to see the movie again on Friday with my wife. I think she's going to love it because she hates it when movies take themselves too seriously, and this movie just is the exact opposite.
That is very helpful when a movie doesn't take itself too seriously.
Absolutely.
Because then you can.
But they still stay true to the characters.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, Taika Waititi said this is a movie about a guy who's trying to get home because there's a burglar in his house, and he has to travel with a drunk girl and a really angry guy, and that's the story. And he's in vulnerable places, and he has to work through all this stuff and get back there, and that's the challenge. And then spoiler alert, in the end, he has to give up his home in order to save his people.
Oh, and more spoiler alert, he has to accept his role as their leader, which he didn't in the first film.
Mm-hmm.
He did not. He wanted to, but then he showed that he was a foolish leader very quickly. And there we go. We got himself into trouble.
I really think that this story does bring Thor's journey back around. And if there are no more Thor movies, or if there's a movie where Thor is not Thor, where he is more of the Odin character, I honestly think that this has been a complete journey for him. I mean, The Dark World was a little weak, but there was
a lot of great stuff in The Dark World. The weakest part about The Dark World is the villain. True. Everything is memorable except for Malekith, played by freaking Eccleston. A waste of his talents. So bad.
And it's weird because I feel like Natalie Portman in that movie, I feel like she's in a different movie than everyone else in both Thor movies.
But especially in Thor 2.
But
it's cute and charming in Thor 2.
It's
because when they're using their magical technology, she's just so it does blah blah blah. She's like, yes, and she goes, yep, just like the thing I have at home. I think that's cute, And oh my God, come on, when Freya decides to protect her, Thor's mother, I thought that was really well done. I thought they had a great time, and I love freaking. Now her name escapes me. Forget it. Anyhow, I really enjoyed I enjoyed almost everything in Thor: The Dark World, except the villain was so bad it brought everything down.
They should get Matt Damon to play the villain in the next Thor movie. Matt Damon? Did I say Dylan?
No, Matt Damon.
I did say Matt Damon.
But at the rate things are going...
Or Matt Dillon,
Listen, at the rate things are going with Hollywood, maybe they should get Harvey Weinstein to play the villain in the next one.
Easy, buddy.
Bring all that way going in, people hate the villain. People hate the villain going in.
I think they're gonna have a tough time getting him out of jail for that. Anyway, so let's wrap it up. Overall, woo boo for Thor Ragnarok.
Oh my God, such a woo! It was a great film, but
huge
it's
woo.
Not going to be for everybody.
Adam, how did you feel about it? Woo or boo?
Yeah,
he goes like this.
He goes like this.
It's like this.
It's like this.
And he's thrilled about the news that Disney is buying 20th Century Fox.
Yeah, what exactly worries you about that?
He's worried that they're gonna that Disney just dilutes the properties, but well, like you had actually mentioned, fatigue. He's concerned that that's just great. They're just gonna keep pushing stuff out until it's not special anymore,
which is exactly what's happening. It's already happening to Star Wars in my book, but I'm gonna enjoy the ride.
He that's exactly what he said.
Yeah, so. I'm telling you, I really want you to know.
And that's what I said. I said I'm just gonna enjoy the. I'm just gonna enjoy.
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy the ride.
But I'm like, as long as they're good movies, I don't really care.
Aha. Now, I actually loved Rogue One, but I have.
He did not like Rogue One.
Oh, honey, why? Who hurt you? It was such a beautiful, self-contained story.
Show us where K2SO touched you on the dog.
I know. I mean, K2SO was what was? Because you didn't know that these characters are just unfamiliar ragtag team of people, or what?
I don't remember a single name. Walking out of the theater, I don't remember a single name.
Did you at least enjoy the third act? Did you enjoy the final act of the movie? That was a treat.
Much of it.
Oh, you should
okay, you are wrong. You need to rewatch that movie.
Tell me you remember the Vader scene.
The shoehorn Vader scene?
Oh, you are wrong.
You mean the Vader scene that informs of his aggression in A New Hope? Yeah, that one.
No. Listen, watch.
Why he's so pissed off when he boards Leia's ship? Anyway.
If you watch that in A New Hope back to back, it's so good.
So huge woo for me too. Marvel does it again. They make a great movie that's fun to go watch and that's different than what they've been doing. Very excited about Black Panther and how this.
I'm super excited about Black Panther. I don't know how I feel about calling this different than what they've been doing. It's
different than the other Thor movies.
I know.
I tend to take it on a property by property basis. So if Guardians and this was kind of like Guardians, but yeah. I feel like it's easy to do what Guardians did with those characters. Mm-hmm. It's not that easy to do what Guardians did with Thor.
No.
And that's why I feel like it's different than what they did with Thor, how they've treated Thor in the past.
Well, I think they learned from their past two mistakes. Thor is the most critically panned of all the franchises in the movies. So I think they're like, okay, we really got to liven things up here, yeah. And they did the right thing. And I'm super excited for Black Panther.
It was, by the way, Chris Hemsworth credits Kevin Smith's critique of the first two Thor movies for why he decided to go in this direction, why he urged Marvel to go in this direction. So.
You mean Chris
Hemsworth?
Really?
Chris Hemsworth credits Kevin Smith's critique.
Yeah, okay.
For why when the third one came up, because obviously by the third movie, the star Chris Hemsworth has some pull, and he was a little uninterested in playing the character because he felt like they'd done everything, and then to see Taika Waititi's pitch, and to see Taika Waititi's pitch and to decide that all of these pieces are fitting together. What Kevin said, what Chris wants, and what Taika is bringing, really can meld together, and I think that's what. What it ends up with.
And I think Adam can agree with this because he thought the movie was so-so, but if we take everything away, it is still the best Thor film. And for a lot of people, I know that's not saying much, but it is still the best Thor film. So, I mean,
I like the first one a lot.
I like I'm very fond of the first two.
I think if you can't have this without the first one, so they're both great.
And this movie does a beautiful job of being full circle with those films. It addresses everything. Unfortunately, it even addresses Natalie Portman not being around very briefly, quickly, and under the carpet.
A lot of people want them to shy away from her. You know what I want? I want them to just full throttle. Let's make her female Thor in the next one.
Well, when we were talking about the evolution of these characters, right? Mm-hmm. And now that he's becoming like the Odin Force, mm-hmm. I think they may want to go back and talk to her about being female Thor.
I think that if what a transformation if she were to approach that character from that angle. And Jane Foster Thor. I mean, I just think that would be a complete...
I think it would be absolutely fabulous if after Infinity War and everything goes down, and he's now whatever he is at that point, because he looks more like Odin than ever, right? But whatever he is at that point, and he finds Jane, and Jane is battling cancer, or whatever the case may be, and then and a new hammer suddenly is forged or appears or whatever happens, they can do. And I think it's an amazing story to tell. You know,
I think so too.
especially
I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
there's a lot, because I mean it would be coming from such a painful place to start with. You know, where he finds her, wants to reconnect with her, and where he finds her, she is in this kind of situation. You know, this very human and perilous situation. And I think that'd be a great place to kind of open it, and then, you know, boom.
So if you
So
haven't
excited.
seen Thor Ragnarok, go out and see it. Hopefully you've seen it before you listen to us yammer on about it. But we were really happy with it. Huge news from us. And we hope you guys liked it too. So let's move on to our last segment, What Did We Play? And we've got a very special What Did We Play, because we're playing with action figures.
We are playing with action figures.
So Cliff, you are going to unbox this DC Super Sons.
Yes, based on the In the Name of the Father series
Very cool.
of Super Sons. And part of the DC Icons line, which features Nightwing, Supergirl, and the Super Sons, which come together with all these like super cool little add-ons.
Very cool. All right. Well, let's crack it open here.
So I've already cut the tape.
Oh, good. He's
Advance.
prepared. He's a professional unboxer, everybody.
You know, I'm not sure about that, because there's so many toys I have that I've never unboxed. So this is good. Here, Cliff struggle.
The noise is probably great.
The noise is like, it's gotta be
If you
awful.
thought the noise was bad before,
Oh my god. These guys are like never going back in the box. And then we gotta find that one hand.
we'll find it.
Great.
Yeah, for some reason the camera, I wonder if that happens every time.
Yeah, we don't have sound.
You don't have sound on the, it should be back now. Is it not back now? Now that we've switched back?
Oh, hold
I think it's just on the table cam for some reason. It's not.
on.
It's not added. Yeah, I must have forgot to add it. Anyway, these are super cool. Oh, there he is. Yeah. All right.
And I love it. And look, the cape.
You gonna pose these on your shelf?
I'm gonna pose these on my shelf, as I promised.
Man, the articulation is
As I
insane.
promised Paul Harding, the sculptor.
So you got these from the sculptor?
I got them from the sculptor.
So cool.
Yeah. He's going to be in New Zealand with the guy who does, oh my God, he's going to be in New Zealand with the guy who did the rendering and the prop creation for Thor Ragnarok and also the Lord of the Rings films.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember that guy's name, but you know who I'm talking about. It's that guy in
Yeah.
New Zealand for 3 weeks.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, I'm so jealous and it's so cool. And it just sounds like it's going to be amazing. See? Toys that make you a kid again.
I don't need toys. Do you know how many Transformers I have at home?
You know what I mean. Just
I have like 100 Transformers at home. Anyway, let's move on to our final thoughts.
Heavens, we have WizKid Open
Oh my
action
gosh,
galore.
We do.
So our friend Johnny went to the Livingston WizKids Open
Okay.
the same day of the King's
The
Games
King's
WizKids.
Games. Yep.
And in Livingston, they had extra prize support of other things.
Yep.
You know, and so they had a good number of people show up, so they bumped the prize support a little bit. And Johnny came in 4th place.
Wow.
Yes.
What did he play? Do you know?
He played a Thor team.
Very cool.
But I can't remember everything. But yeah, the Thor that can hypersonic hit you and then hit you again.
Oh,
Yeah.
you love that piece.
I love when it works.
I mean, you love playing that piece. You don't love.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know.
Was
that
it
piece.
you? Oh no, maybe it was somebody else that was complaining about that piece online.
No, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't complain. Johnny loaned him to me, and he was like my MVP when he loaned him to me.
Yeah, you played against me, didn't you? Whatever.
I wasn't even
I had
trying.
the Punisher. I think I had the Punisher ban. I think we played that on live stream, but I cannot get Damian Wayne to stand up.
Yeah, why do you think I put him sitting down?
Yeah, so WizKids Open. We've got that coming up. We have a Dice Masters Open as well.
Are they going to be the same day?
They are different days. So the Dice Masters Open is Saturday,
Okay.
the 18th, and the HeroClix is Sunday the 19th. Next week we're going to be doing our top 10 DC property movies and trying to combine them for one major top 10 watch list. And then
Larry, if you're still with us, careful with the hands glove. You almost took that man's head off. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure what he's referring to. If I did one of these, or
maybe
you know, but I almost.
I'm
take
used to
someone's
the
head-
abuse. It's okay.
I almost take someone's head off all the time.
So yeah, we got a lot of great things coming up. Our Poughkeepsie store is open, so if you're in that area, check that out. And Black Friday sales too. We're gonna have sales in the stores on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Free tournaments here in Catskill on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So check those out as well. And I think that's it. Yeah. Do we have anything else to talk about?
That sounds good. I already mentioned my toy drive, December 2nd.
So again, thank you guys. Oh, you talk with the hands. You talk with the hands.
Yes.
So he's saying, you should go back and watch other ones. He's always hitting me. So
I've
it's
been
fun.
using these hands all my life, Mr. Murphy.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. Go out and see Thor if you haven't already.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself to some Thor.
As always, I'm your host, Tony Cox.
And I'm Clifford Barmeter.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.
Tweet us, like us.